Hello everyone, and welcome back to Marriage Sensation. We're a marriage ministry out of New Life at Calvary Church, which is located on 79th and Euclid Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm Katy Glenn.
And I'm Walter Glenn.
And we're so glad you came back with us this week. Today we're going to be talking about keeping our love tanks full.
So what is a love tank? I mean, tell me something about that.
A love tank is what makes you feel loved inside. And as long as that tank is filled, you usually have a happy marriage, happy life going on, because you just feel that you are completely loved.
Well, let me ask you a question. Can a love tank be considered, could it be considered like a gas tank?
Yes.
You know, I got to keep my gas tank full because if my car starts to run out of fuel, if I see that needle going to the other end and gets to empty, then I can't go very far in that car. I mean, that car's worthless to me then. So is the love tank sort of like that?
It's like that because you have to keep the love tank filled to keep the love going on in your relationship. And just like the car, if you don't put gas in your car, it's not going to run. If you don't put oil in your car, it's not going to run well. And the same thing with the love tank. If you don't keep that love tank filled, your marriage is not going to run well.
So, I really get that concept. So how does this love tank work? What are some principles that we can build in that will keep our love tank close to being full?
Well, everybody really has a love tank. It's not, anything, a physical thing inside of you, but it's what makes you feel loved. And so in order to keep that tank filled, your spouse needs to know what makes you happy, what is the best thing for you.
Okay.
And as long as that person is keeping that love tank filled, then the relationship is going to go smoothly.
Now, we just happen to have some tips about that. And it's taken from the book by Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages. And there's 5 principles there. And we're going to go over them one by one until we get to all 5. Katie's going to take the first 2 or 3, and I'll do the last 2.
Okay, the 5 love languages are things that make you feel loved. And there are 5 different ones. The first one is words of affirmation. And this means that you like to be praised. You like to be told you're doing a good job, or you did a good job, or something that you did was wonderful, and your spouse is telling you that.
So, I know when I was a kid, my teachers would say, "Oh, that was a job well done." They put a star up on my paper,
right?
And it really made me feel good. But as I got older and I got married, what makes me feel good? Hearing words of affirmation from you.
Right.
When I go out there and cut that grass, sometimes I want to hear, "Man, that grass looks really good,"
right.
Or "That meal was really good." When you cook a meal, that feels good when you hear stuff like that.
So the words of everybody has a love language. They have a primary love language, and you have to find out which one is yours and to let your spouse know what it is so that they can start practicing that. Usually you and your spouse don't have the same love language.
No,
it's
we don't.
completely different. And so you need to find out exactly what that is so that you can use it and just keep your spouse's love tank full.
Now, my wife did an interesting thing for our marriage group. We found out what everybody's love language was, and she made up a card that would fit on your refrigerator, a little sticky card that clipped to your refrigerator, and you could look at it every day and see your spouse's love language, and you could hit that love language every single day. So that words of affirmation was really good. I mean, people need to hear good, encouraging words.
Right, and usually you and your spouse have different love languages. And so you have to learn what your spouse's love language is so that you can use it all the time just to enhance your marriage.
So what's the next one?
The next one is physical touch. Physical touch it can be the sexual part of your marriage, or it could just be you walking down the street holding hands. You give your spouse a back rub or a foot massage or some kind of massage. I mean, anything that touches, physically touching your spouse. And if they enjoy that, then that's just going to fill up their love tank.
You know, there's been studies done that show that babies absolutely prosper tremendously by having someone hold them, hug them, and physically touch them.
Yeah,
Even
that's true.
animals, pets, dogs, cats, love to be physically touched. And as Katie alluded to, it doesn't have to be sexual, but it can be just as you're going by, giving a person a gentle hug or a little tap on the back. That feels good. I don't know. It really feels great to me. I enjoy that.
That's good. That's a wonderful thing. Just a little touch. You know, it doesn't have to be anything grand, but just so your spouse knows that they're thinking about you.
The next one?
The next one is acts of service. And that's when you do something for your spouse. Now, if your spouse is a cleaner, like my spouse is, if I do something extra, or if I just do like the laundry or sweep the floor, if his love language is acts of service, that really fills his love tank because he can see that I'm doing something that he would normally do, but I'm doing it for him. And so acts of service is, you know, just simple things, you know, washing the dishes, doing the laundry, you know, making a meal probably,
Guys,
possibly, you know.
pick those socks up off the floor.
Right.
That's an act of service. Pick those socks.
Yeah.
Pick your shirt up. When you come in at the end of the evening, don't just throw your shirt down, put it in the dirty clothes, or hang it up. That's an act of service, and it really goes a long way to making some very, very good romantic nights.
Amen.
When a person sees that you are buying into this process of being a helping hand within the household.
Right, exactly. And especially when it comes, if you have young children, because, you know, you both need to be a tag team to work those kids and get everything in order for the evening or getting ready for the next day. So, you know, that acts of service, that really, if that's your love language, that's really going to fill your tank.
Yeah, because when one spouse runs out of gas, it's good to be able to tag off to the other one and they can start right in.
Right.
So what's the next one?
The next one is gifts.
Okay, I'll take that one. Gifts, I think most people like. Okay, people like gifts. I'm a little low on that scale because I'm a little cheap, but people like gifts. And, you know, they like to be surprised with some flowers. They like to be surprised with a night out to dinner. They like to be surprised with nice little gifts and trinkets.
Little trinket, little bracelet or necklace.
Hey, if you go somewhere, you go out of town, actually pick up something from a souvenir shop. Pick up something with a gift. I'm not real good at that, but I'm getting better. You know, and gifts are really important to keep a marriage going, and they don't have to be. You don't have to buy your wife or your husband a boat or a car or something like that. But you can buy something small, and it can have just as meaningful purpose to it, and it'll be a fantastic gift if it's given from the heart, and it shows a nice, well thought out card that says all the right sentiments. Can be a wonderful gift. What's the next one?
The last one is quality time.
Ooh, now, at first, when we first got married 33 years ago, my primary love language was
words of
affirmation. I kind of needed to be pumped up a little bit. But I've seen over the years, and this could happen in your marriage, it can happen in your relationship, where it shifts. But over the years, mine has drifted to quality time, which means I want to spend more time with this lady. You know, we all have busy schedules, and we all have other things that come into our lives that keep us going most of the time. But I have really relished just being able to spend some good quality time with her. And even if it's 2 hours in a day, where we can sit back, we can pray together, we can go for a walk, we can go and sit, we can go talk about an issue, we can have dinner together. That's good quality time. And quality time is valuable in a marriage. Carve it out, defend it, protect it.
Right.
Set aside hours where that is your boundary where nobody can call you during that time. That is your time with each other.
Right.
Even with the kids, put them to bed. It's time, guys.
Right.
You guys go to bed right now. That last 2 hours of the night is our quality time. So we're going to protect that time together, and we're going to really cherish it because it is important in our marriages.
So those are the 5 love languages: words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, gifts, and quality time. And now each one of us has a primary love language, and
A secondary, probably.
and a secondary one. But in the book, The 5 Love Languages, there is a test you can take in the back that will help you determine what your love language is. And so when you find that out, make sure, the husband does one, the wife does one, so that you all can compare and see what your love language is, so that you can tell each other.
And then act on that gift.
And act on that gift. And that you'll see your spouse's love tank just fill up to over brimming, over the top. But because you are showing them that I know what makes you happy, I know what makes you feel loved, and I'm going to keep doing this. Now, one problem is oftentimes you two don't have the same love language. And so it's hard, it can be difficult to show your spouse the love language that you have no idea what it's about because it's not your love language. So we always say that, marriage is hard work, and this is hard work too, because you have to be really intentional about showing your spouse their love language.
So a quick example of that is if your love language is acts of service, you like people to do service for you, but your spouse's love language is physical touch, okay, they're not connecting. So that spouse has to really get into the zone and get into your love language, which is acts of service. Even though it's not their love language, they have to put themselves in your love language.
Right.
And you have to put yourself in their love language so that it flows smoothly. Because we're a team, we're a partnership,
Right,
we're a marriage, and we want to work together. This is about building.
And we want to keep our love tanks full.
Amen. Well, that concludes our lesson for today.
Yes.
And as always, when we say we want your marriage to be sensational.